So Congressman Wesley Hunt recently went on the Bill Maher show, and he was absolutely delivering haymaker after haymaker. That's what we're going to be checking out today. In this first clip that we're going to get into, because I got a lot of clips, so sit back, all right, and relax. But in this first clip, Bill Maher talks about the recent parade. Let's dive in.
Up the execution, just like they did with the parade. Like, do I think it was a good idea to have a parade? No, but if you're going to do it, if you're going to have a vaguely fascist parade, do it right.
I want to say something about the parade to offer another opinion from our side of this whole thing, and that is it was the 250th birthday of our United States Army.
Right.
As I said, thank you very much. And somebody that served this nation as an Apache pilot, again, my brother and sister going to West Point, 6 years of military service, mostly in the Army. My great-great-grandfather fought in the Civil War. And you know what I saw? I saw the president salute the Corps of Cadets as they walked past him. I watched him salute the 75th Ranger Regiment as they walked past him. I sat there and watched the fireworks behind the Washington Monument. And you know what I thought? Damn, that's absolutely outstanding. And it's far better than Joe Biden checking his watch when bodies were being returned to Dover.
Okay, wait a minute.
This is hold on. This is a contrast that we were talking about and why you lost. Because we are talking about a man that's talking about patriotism. And in parades like that, when I was growing up, I served. Because I used to go to these parades and watch my dad participate in them. I saw the Black Hawks landing. I visited my sister at West Point. And I said, by God, I want to serve this country too. And so the dichotomy of what we're seeing with President Trump and his patriotism, saluting the flag, actually making an effort. And whether you like it or agree with the execution, the effort is there. That's all we want to see.
Execution does matter. First of all, thank you for your service.
God, Bill,
no, I mean that. I say that to everybody. I always have for 22 years.
I've watched you for 20 years.
Yes,
you have.
absolutely.
Thank
I'm
you
always
very much.
behind the military, and
you have it.
Nobody compares to the military. Everybody says that they're brave. They're brave. Oh, you're so brave. Military, that's who's brave, and cops and firefighters and people like that. But
1,000%. Shout out to all the military men and women. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for your service. Truly brave individuals. I could definitely say I wasn't brave enough to do it. All right. Hey, I'm gonna keep it 100. All right. I'm gonna keep it 100. I was not brave enough to do it. So thank you for your service. Absolutely. In this next clip, actually, you know what? I'm gonna skip over that one because I got some other stuff I want to get to. We talk. Goodness gracious. Bill Maher starts to talk about January 6th. Check it out.
do we say that both parties are equally guilty? Because when I think about January 6th and pardoning all the people who were involved in that insurrection, or whatever you want to call it.
Insurrection. How you have insurrection with no guns, though? That's like having.
Well,
that's like making coffee.
They
with
brought
beans.
tons of guns. It's just
well, there's 400 guns currently in 40 million guns currently in circulation. One person was killed that day. It was Ashley Babbitt. She was a white unarmed person that was killed by a black Capitol police officer. Imagine if that had been the other way around. When I think of an insurrection as a war fighter, somebody that has seen some real nasty stuff, when I think about that, what people have to understand is that the summer of love leading up to that was something else. We were talking about $2 billion in damage. 200 cities had to go under curfew. 22 people lost their lives. And I understand that January 6th was a Democrats' white rhino, and they were going to run in that. They're going to win the next election. And Donald Trump is still president, last I checked.
Okay, take the politics out of it. I mean, look, they were there for a specific reason, and they attacked the Capitol, a specific place, on a specific day, at a specific moment, which was the exact moment that the votes were being counted, which to me makes it even worse. But okay, let's just say they were there because they were, I don't know, furious about the price of eggs. No politics. They were just like, Congress has not done anything about the goddamn price of eggs, and we're going to, I don't care how many cops get hurt, we're going to, would it be any different?
Well, again, we were talking about...
Is it just okay because it was defending Trump?
This wasn't necessarily about defending Trump.
Okay, but what if it was what if it was over 100 cops getting hurt and people taking over a building over the price
of eggs?
Now
you're talking about the summer of love. No. That's when people were actually really getting hurt. Well, that's when 22 people died. That's when we watched mayhem in our streets. And even just a couple of weeks ago here in L.A., we were watching people throw pieces of concrete at law enforcement officers and cars burning in the street in our cities. We cannot have that anywhere.
Okay.
Absolutely. He didn't want to talk about that. Bill Maher was really trying to change the subject. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Wesley Hunt also addressed the Whoopi Goldberg situation where she, basically said it's the situation in America for black people is worse than the situation for the people in Iran. He addressed that too. Perfectly. Check it out.
My district in the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. As I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedale plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot.
So wait,
I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. That's a bit far. And my father, who's 75 years old, he was a man that was in the French quarters that had to go get a sandwich to the back door of the building. And his son is now a United States congressman in a white majority district in Texas as a Republican. That is America. That's America. So let's celebrate.
Facts. That's America. That's America. It's beautiful. Someone who is making millions of dollars sitting on a show spewing out nonsense constantly on a daily basis is talking about how terrible it is here for black people. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. You can't. You can't. Next clip.
Was the fact that he had an assassination attempt and survived it. And look, I've heard idiots on the left say to me, Bill, you know that was staged.
Yeah, that wasn't staged.
No, it was not staged. That would be ridiculous because the guy behind him got shot.
Right.
And we don't really care about that guy anymore. But anyway, they did try to shoot him, and he did survive it. And I know a lot of Republicans think that is determinative. They think God saved him, and therefore he cannot make a wrong move. Is that what you believe?
Well, it wasn't just that. It's just you guys had a really bad candidate in Kamala Harris. People also have to understand is that was one of the most undemocratic things I've ever seen. What you did was you took Joe Biden, you put him in a room, put on Golden Girls, gave him some chocolate chip ice cream, and then by the time he walked out, he was no longer running for president, and he had no idea what was going on. So when you combine that with a candidate that not a single Democrat voted for in that primary, it creates a disaster. That's another big reason why President Trump won is because the Democrat Party lost faith in the American people because they broke the process in order to get the right candidate to actually run for president.
But I want to come back to this point you made about cult of personality, because I think you're right. When Donald Trump was the most against TikTok, and I can't stand the guy, but I thought he's right about that. TikTok is Chinese communist. I don't like it. He was against it. And every MAGA guy I knew was against it. Then he met with a TikTok billionaire. He's all for TikTok. And they're all for it now. It's like, come on, they're still Chinese communists. But he will win. Whichever side he chooses, his team his base will come along with him.
Yes, is Mosu. He's also in charge. We have a leader in our party. Who's the leader in your party?
Well, you just said it was bad that the Democrats like Nancy Pelosi for years.
Right now, but not for 20 years. So we have somebody that is absolutely our leader of the party. Right. It is Donald Trump, but we are actually behind him. Who is your leader? Is it going to be Bernie Sanders? Is it going to be AOC? Is it going to be Jasmine Crockett? Are you kidding me?
Anybody who gets in the way of the dear leader. I remember when Roger Ailes and Fox News took him on. He crushed them. I remember when Elon Musk a few weeks ago took him on. Trump crushed them. So whatever Trump does, I guess if I was advising him as a political advisor, I'd say, sir, whatever you do, they're going to be with you. So figure out what the right thing to do is. In that sense, he's free. It's only about 35% of the country, but it's about 65% of the Republican Party. They will do anything the dear leader says, and that's terrifying. But for Trump, it ought to give him some space to be able to do or not do what he thinks is best.
That is a lie. That is a lie. I'm one example of it. I've disagreed with Trump, and I've disagreed openly. It's not like, off camera, I was like, man, I don't like what Trump is doing. I don't think what Trump is doing is a good thing. Like, no, I've said it on camera. I have no problem saying it on camera. So this nonsense I don't even know who this guy is. So this nonsense, because he's not the only one. But Democrats try to, well, he's your king, and you just do whatever he says. No, I don't. No, I don't. Trump is the president. He's not God. Not by a long shot, he's not God. He's simply the president. And he happens to be the leader of the Republican Party. He's a leader. There are some things that I agree with Trump on. And there are others where I don't. And I voice when I don't agree with Trump on certain things. I've said it on video. It's recorded. So this is nonsense. And there's plenty of people who disagree with Trump. Plenty of people. Tucker Carlson literally just was disagreeing with Uncle Trump not long ago. Do I hate Tucker? Or am I like, man, get Tucker up out of here? No. I like Tucker. Speaking of Tucker, they went on to talk about Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz when they had their little feud. Check it out.
Of all the people in Congress, I think you're the one who is most always backing whatever Trump does.
Yes, sir.
Okay. With this decision about Iran, is it really predicated on how you feel about Trump? In other words, whatever, because the Republican Party is split about this. Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson, who usually would be agreeing on everything, had a Real Housewives fight the other day. About this, because Tucker Carlson is on a side which, you were expressing before. A lot of Republicans love Trump because he is like, we don't get involved with foreigners. That's not us. America first. And then there's a lot of Republicans who are like, oh no, we got to bomb Iran because that's, the enemy of Israel, and Israel is where who's going to come back to earth. This, to me, is the difference between a political party and a cult. Cults are by what the person does, and parties are what ideas. I think, I'm going to make my decision based on the ideas. I feel like some people do it just by the person. Whatever Trump does, you're going to go along with, right?
Well, I think what you're seeing is
you would never disagree.
No, there's certain things we disagree on, but here's the thing. What you're seeing is a healthy debate, but well, to your previous question, what you're seeing is a healthy debate between two pieces of our party, and I think it's actually a very good thing. I'm in the House of Representatives, and over the course of the past 20 years, the Democrats have had one Speaker of the House, and that was Nancy Pelosi before Hakeem Jeffries. We've had 5. People in our party actually will debate. We will actually look at a person and say, you know what? We don't like this. Let's have a healthy debate, and let's move on. You want to talk about no kings and no queens. I mean, having one Speaker of the House for 20 years is something else. So you're seeing this open up in our party again. You have two factions. You have two pieces of the party that care about each other immensely. Let's let this play out. Let's talk about it, and then let the president make the ultimate choice.
Bingo. Listen, and I've said this before. When people disagree with Trump openly, I don't get mad at them. Like Tucker, that's a great example of something that happened recently. I still like Tucker. Candace Owens is another great example, right? There's a lot of things that Candace Owens has said that I don't agree with. I mean, just flat out, I don't agree with. But do I still respect Candace Owens? Absolutely. I respect the fact that she's not afraid to come out and say whatever it is that she wants to say. She doesn't bite her tongue, the same way that Uncle Trump doesn't either. I love that. Speak out against Uncle Trump if you don't agree with what he's doing or what he's saying. More power to you. Doesn't mean I agree with you, but I do like the fact that you're not afraid to say it. That's just my stance on it. It's the same thing with Tucker Carlson. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech no matter who it comes from. Point blank, period. And that's my stance. You have the right to say whatever it is that you want to say. And I'm going to stand behind you and defend it. At least defend the right for you to say whatever it is that you want to say. I agree with freedom of speech. And plus, on top of that, like Wesley Hunt said, I think debating is healthy for the party. We don't want to get like the Democrats and it's just one line of thinking and they all repeat the same lines and they all think the same way and do the same things. Look where that's gotten them. Yeah, look where that's gotten them. Lost 7 swing states and the popular vote. Party in absolute shambles. Donors have absolutely left. Money's not flowing in. The veil has been pulled. The curtain has been pulled back. Right? I don't want to be in a party that's like the Democrat Party. I love the fact that we have individuals in the Republican Party that are unapologetic and openly will disagree with you. I love that. That's one of the things that I think is beautiful about the Republican Party. We can disagree, and we can go have a beer afterwards. That ain't the case in the Democrat Party. You disagree, oh, you're a right-wing extremist, get out of here. They'll banish you. In the Republican Party, I feel for the most part, because I feel like there are segments where, and I saw it like with the Candace Owens. There were some people who, got offended by what Candace Owens said, and she said a lot of things. But for the most part, in the Republican Party, we can disagree. We can disagree, have a debate, and then go sing Kumbaya afterwards. Have a beer and some good food. You know, and I love that about this party, and I don't want to ever see it go away. And I will always stand up and defend freedom of speech. I don't care who it is or whether or not I agree with it. It is freedom of speech, period. That's my stance on it. What's your stance? Let me know in the comments if you guys agree, disagree, why or why not. Talk to me. Y'all stay safe out there. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.